what's your favorite photo in the book?
I think would have to be me standing in front of the spires of the glacier. That one, and then probably the Kicker Creek, the photo with all the fireweed on the roof. You know,
Those are good ones. What about your favorite story? Hi, everybody. Thank you for tuning into this question and answer period for Hidden Alaska Ramblings of a Master Guide. We're sitting down with the author, Mike Buck Bowden, myself, the publisher, Brennan Belich, and my sister, Bristol Kennedy. She's a photographer. She actually introduced Buck and I years ago and led to the creation of this book. We're going to be asking Buck some questions from Instagram, going over some of his favorite highlights from the book. If you enjoy this, please like, subscribe, share with your friends, and we can convince Buck to start making more content like this. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy.
Okay,
Uh,
guys, we're gonna get started with the questions.
all right, you go ahead,
I
Chicky.
saw, so it was kind of open to anybody to ask some questions, but I did recognize a few people that showed up at your book signing there at Jitters, so I'll start with that. Somebody wants to know, what's your favorite species to hunt in Alaska and why?
um, I would have to say it's moose because of the excitement of when you get in the woods and you start calling and the procedure is so long. You know, you start calling, the moose answers back to you. You can hear it starting to come in through the woods, and the excitement of seeing it coming through the woods, and then finally, trying to judge from the sound of the antlers in the woods how big he might be, and then then all of a sudden when he pops his head out, and even if you can see him from a mile and a half, 2 miles away, you can just watch him coming the whole way. So I would have to say moose until they're on the ground, and then of course, that's when all the work begins with them. But I would have to say the most exciting for me is moose.
All right.
All right, we got another one here. What's your favorite airplane engine?
Ah, okay. All of the Cubs that I've had before this one, I've always had 0320 wide decks, and they were fine. They're 160 horse, but since I'm now flying exclusively floats, I like the 0360, which is 180 horse, and it just really makes a difference when you're on floats and carrying a load. That extra horsepower is really noticeable.
What kind of extra stuff might you be carrying in your plane?
Uh, uh, Moose meat or anything heavy. Burls. That those things are really heavy. And just people and of course every trip you try and take in and out of the lake, you always feel guilty if you don't have a full load. So you always try and fill the plane up as much as possible.
All right. What was your favorite part about creating the book?
I think I was thinking about that this morning, and I think what it is mostly in the enjoyment I was seeing that people were getting out of each story when I would post a story. Of course, the first story I ever posted was basically just an accident. I just started writing, and then I would get feedback from people and messages that were just saying, "Wow, that's a great story. Keep them coming. You should write a book." And it just made me feel good that people were enjoying what I was putting down. So I thought, well, if they like this story, this happened too, and then I put it out there, and I think the enjoyment it gives people.
Yeah, it's been cool to see the replies people have been sending to you too since it came out.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Some of those have been pretty funny. I think I sent you one yesterday from Nandi. I don't know if Bristol has seen that one, but that was pretty funny what he was saying there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about your story when you used to come back in town and your three top priorities:
Oh my gosh, the
Oh,
pizza.
pizza, beer, and girls.
well, yeah, that was his language, Bristol, not mine. I don't.
Uh-huh. That's okay. Well, we're on that topic. There's some lady here named Stephanie from Canada who wants to know when you're going to go to Mexico.
I have no idea who Stephanie from Canada is. Oh, your mother. I'm thinking somebody over in like Ottawa or something like that. But you have a mother named Stephanie.
Oh yeah, she's
Yeah.
keen on getting you back to Mexico.
I'm
Mostly,
I'm I'm gonna come here in January.
What about that belt buckle that you wear in all your photos? People want to know where they can get one.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, actually, that one was given to me by my, and I had that picture. I got to dig that thing out again too, but that was given to me by my sister in 1972 on my birthday when I was, and I got that thing, and isn't it weird? I'm still wearing it to this very day. I mean, that's the only belt buckle I've ever had, you know? And I, it's a silver belt buckle that I'm sure it came from some cowboy shop down there in Colorado where she lives.
I got a couple questions for you about the photography in the book. Most of those photos, I think you took yourself. Tell us a little bit about how you took so many pictures of yourself in the cabin and
Yeah, that was all self timers. The first year I was out there, I had an old Minolta that didn't have a self timer up, so there aren't you know too many of me my first year out there. But then, granted, there were some pictures, probably like when I was shoeing Poncho, when there were people out there, like during hunts. But the most of them are from a self timer. I would set the camera up on my pack. I would set it up on a log. I would set it up anywhere, and then hurry up and run around in front, and then get into pose, and then the timer would go off. Like the one with me and the one-eyed moose, the one of me holding the beaver up by the tail. I had just fell in the beaver pond and got up holding the beaver by the tail. You can actually see the water dripping off on my arm. But then I got up and I caught the camera right away. So most of it is self timers.
well, I'm glad you did.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And at the time it was back then, of course, you don't have phones, and you didn't do a whole lot of pictures because every picture you had was one less photo you would have. And out there, you can't run to Walgreens and grab another roll of film. So you wanted to make sure every picture you took, you couldn't just, you know, zappity, zappity, zap, just take a whole bunch of pictures and then you're out of film. And then you don't.
Well, I sent you guys one of those disposable cameras out to the lodge in the summertime, and I got it back and I took it to the the photo lab, and it just came back with a bunch of barbecue photos. So
I
I
know we kept me and Brennan and your dad were kind of laughing about that too. Then
Okay, you did a giveaway for three of your bowls, and I know you drew the winners already, but everybody's wondering if you're going to be doing any more bowl giveaways.
uh, I do plan on doing another. I won't be carving anymore until next spring when I can open up the shop and dig around for some burls and get them up on the bench. But yes, I'm going to leave that up to Brennan as to when he wants to have some more carved, but it won't be until April or May.
What's your favorite photo in the book?
I think would have to be me standing in front of the spires of the glacier. Um, that one, and then probably the uh, Kicker Creek, the photo with all the fireweed on the roof. You know, I think those are my two favorite ones. Yeah.
Those are good ones. What about your favorite story?
Brennan, I think it's probably the beaver tail. It's a little more detailed and a little more because the other ones, they were seemed like they were kind of cut off or they wouldn't or they weren't really fully finished. But the beaver tail, I just kind of you know um, put a little more effort into that one. I think. And
Yeah,
then
I think the
what
trappers would
what's your favorite one?
I think the trappers would really like that one just from like the details of the different types of traps and like
Mhm.
probably relate to that one a lot. Um, hmm.
Let me see, like Nandi. Somebody, there were a lot of people said that they really liked. They they really laughed at the Christmas story. That a lot of people really like that one. And some of the
I
I
like
I haven't had too many people really single out a particular story. Except Nandi. Like he did, or you know.
I
Uh,
like the two bears at the Taj one. Just the detail of like you can really imagine yourself in the little Taj cabin with the bear and like
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, Yeah, the story with Tom was pretty good. That was a wild night, that one, and it was everything was just exactly as I had it written down. Yeah, that one I put a little more effort to it, and then the one like you say where I got the two bears that day. I was so tired when I got there, and then started walking up the trail to the Taj, and all the stuff scattered everywhere, and it was dark, and I was like, oh man. Then get there, stuff scattered everywhere, and I had to pick up the stove. And yeah, yeah, that one's a good one. I remember just laying there, and at some point he's going to come back, and I was just kind of laying there waiting for him to come back, and then all of a sudden I heard the door fall over, and it was black. But you know how when you like look out a window or you look out a door, you can, even though it's pitch black, you can still see the outline of the outside, through the opening. And I just grabbed the ugly stick and pointed it at that black blob in the middle of the doorway, and you know, and then it went from there. And I'll never forget. It was like just the flash, and the concussion of the thing just had me dazed. And I think had he not gone, well, I'm sure it would have dazed him too. But that was yeah, that was kind of a weird story. I wasn't expecting. I was expecting, like some kind of John Wayne thing where you just pull the trigger and it goes bang. But as you know all about the ugly stick, it's got some loudness to it.
I know the feeling that you're talking about for sure.
Uh,
Yeah. So you mentioned there's a couple stories that are your favorites. Are you thinking of doing another book? And are you currently writing some more stories for the people?
that is so weird you say that. Yes, I have already got. In fact, I was gonna start putting more onto them, but ever since this talk of doing a second book, um, I've started writing an outline, and the window here must be some kind of a magic window into the past, because I've got stories that I've got on the outline of like when I was out at the lodge and I had a broken leg for 4 days before they medevaced me out of there. How painful that was. A picture of the moose and the grizzly in the river, or not picture, but story on that. The story of and I think I already posted. Just so many stories that have started coming to my mind. At the time I had to go into the bear den after a wounded bear. There's that story in there. So many of them. It's just been starting to come to my mind, and I've been writing an outline of a list of them, and I was going to send it to you, but the stories are there, and the stories are real. The story. I was going to do one. I may have already told you the story about the high profile NFL players that came out to the lodge on a spring hunt. That and how that one day ended up where they were shooting in. One of them was shooting arrows into the air while the other one was drunk, going around there picking up the arrow while the other ones were shooting them into the air, which that kind of goes along with no hunting, no drinking kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And that's such a funny story. You know.
You didn't
Um,
give him the rules before before they did
Well,
that, I
well,
guess.
the rules were, and they were following the rules. I mean, we hunted for about 4 days, and then all of a sudden we had some bad weather come in, and so the morning of that bad weather, we were all just sitting around the table, like, well, we can't hunt today. Let's just take the day off. So drinking coffee, one thing led to another. Well, we're just going to sit here. I think I'm going to have a cocktail. That was them. They started drinking, and then the next thing you know, their bottles started getting lower and lower. And then I started telling them about the bow that I have out there, that primitive bow, and John asked if he could shoot it, and so we all went out on the porch, and he took those arrows and started shooting in the air, and the other guy, the one real high profile one that won the Super Bowl twice. He was a real highliner on that. He all of a sudden he bails off the deck and he starts running down to get the arrows that John had already shot. But John just kept shooting them in the air, and Jens and I are standing there. No arrows were zooming down and plunking right next to him. And Jens and I said, "This does not look good," And uh, Jens isn't drinking. I'm not drinking. And then finally we came back, and we got the bow away from John, and I went inside and I sat in the recliner. Jens was out there talking to me. Jens is Swedish, and Jens was saying, and Jens had started the sauna that morning. So Jens said in his Swedish accent, that he's going to go check on the sauna. Came back over, and he explained to those guys, "Hey, over in Sweden, everybody just gets naked and gets in the sauna." And all of a sudden, John, he's sitting there and he holds a bottle in the air. Today we are Swedish, and he comes in the door. All three of them did, and I'm sitting in the chair, and come on, Buck, we're going to get naked and get in the sauna. I said, no, we're not. I'm not going in there. And these are three big old NFL dudes. Uh, and they weren't the punters. They were the real deal. They came over, grabbed me out of the chair, one on one side, one on the other, and they toted me over to the sauna. We got in there, and those guys were drunk. I kept trying to get out, and finally, it's like, okay. So we took off all our clothes, and you know how big that sauna is, and all of a sudden, there's four big dudes standing in there naked, just looking at each other. It's like, nah, this ain't gonna work. But all four of us could not get out of the doors fat. It's all at the same time. That was so funny. Then where the bucket of water. Now keep in mind this is in April. So John, he just starts laughing and he jumps in that tub of water, and he breaks through the ice, and he just sits in that thing for a while. But anyway, that was a funny story, especially coming from.
Oh,
we
did
lost him?
he froze up?
No.
It was just so ugly and weird. All of us looked at each other and said, "This is not good." Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway, funny.
for those that don't know, that's a very small sauna for some big NFL players to be naked inside of.
Oh, I know.
Well, I'm gonna say that the stickers on your website now are my favorite thing, and I'm ordering a bunch of them for Christmas.
Oh, cool.
Did you see them yet?
No, Where are they? I mean, I don't know what they look like.
Oh, well, it'll be a surprise for you too, but there's some pretty cute stickers on there now.
Oh, well, cute is what we're looking for now, isn't
Yeah.
it?
All right.
If you go to the website, there's a little banner at the top that says we're now selling art prints, stickers, and merch. If you click
Hmm.
on that, you'll see all the new stuff you can buy as well.
All righty, guys.
Okay,
That was
awesome.
fun.
That was great.
Okay. Thanks for calling, bud.
All right, we'll do it again soon.
Okay, Bristol. Thanks.
Okay, bye.
We'll talk to you soon.
Yep.
Okay, bye, Buck.